I guess everybody has their own play style. And it looks like the Hive is just now finishing up, so we should see an Ultralisk Cavern going down here shortly in order to get those Ultralisks up and running. And it looks like the Mutalisk is going to move out here, try to snipe some buildings perhaps, or at least do some scouting to see what's going on as far as tech. And going to focus fire down this one cannon, and then also taking down the Forge. So it looks like if this Forge goes down, yeah, he is not going to be able to do any more arm upgrades, which it looks like he has upgraded weapons level 1, but no other upgrades at this point. So he is not going to build any more cannons or any more upgrades at this point, which will slow him down just a little bit. And it looks like he is upgrading the range for the Colossi. So we will see those Colossi doing a lot of damage from a far, far distance away. And yeah, he has not even researched Psystorm yet. So apparently that's why he is using the High Templar strictly for Archons at this point. And the expansion for me down at the 4 o'clock position here has gone up now. Some drones over there, and putting down some extractors to try to get that additional gas as well, because Ultralisks are very gas intensive. And the Ultralisk Cavern is a little bit over halfway done now. So it looks like we will see the Ultralisks out here shortly, and continuing to macro up some more Hydralisks and Zerglings. At this point, looking at the supply at about 145 of 186. So both players at this point kind of backing off and agreeing to play a little bit more of a macro game up, try to get a bigger army, and a big clash going to be happening sometime in the future, it looks like. And the Mutalisks, I would like to see those do a little bit more harassment, but unfortunately it looks like I am not using them currently. So although both resources for both players right now being used up pretty much all the way, so it looks like we will be seeing battle here hopefully soon, since maxing out the population almost, and then of course also the resources getting very, very tight. So it looks like the Mutalisks are moving out again now, possibly going to try to snipe some more tech buildings, although it looks like they have stopped up short of the Protoss player's base. One Overlord suiciding in there to see, and of course aware now of the Colossi, Archons, Stalkers, and Zealots army that he does have. And it looks like he was about to move out, but as the Mutalisks come in to snipe this Cybernetics Core, he is going to have to come back and defend against that. The Mutalisks taking a few shots, and it looks like none of them are going to go down. So able to get that Cybernetics Core, and then all the units moving away before any of them are able to be focus fired down. And Ultralisk now coming into the mix. So and it looks like we have the speed upgrade for the Ultralisk researching as well. At this point, 6 Ultras in the mix with this Zergling Hydra army, and of course the Mutalisks remaining from that quick attack as well. And it looks like Necator has started building up in the I'm sorry, what is this? The 9 o'clock expansion as well. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get used to saying all that, because I typically don't use that terminology. But over on the left-hand side of the 9 o'clock expansion, it looks like Necator has blocked off the ramp a little bit here with some photon cannons. So I would imagine he is going to be expanding to that here shortly as well. Although down at the 6 o'clock position, I have taken the natural expansion for the main down there as well. So getting up another base, although at this point, completely supply blocked at 199 of 200. So my entire army is going to moving out at this point, trying to get into position to intercept any attacks that he may be trying to do. And at this point, I do see that he is building over at this expansion, so going to try to move out. And I believe I try to snipe this with some of my Mutalisks here. I do have a decent amount of Mutalisks. It looks like about 13 Mutalisks. So going to move that up here, and it looks like the ground army moving up to the high yield base that is on his side of the map. And these Mutas going to come down here and try to do some damage before these cannons can all get warped in. Necator using a lot of cannons this game. You can see some of these just now warping in, and they're already 4 up here, so it looks like he's got a decent amount of cannons. I'm not sure. This may be enough to hold off these Mutalisks, although no backing off and going to try to take off the ones that are still warping in at this point. Necator frantically trying to warp in a few more cannons as his army is out of place on the other side of the map, although it doesn't look like he is moving it over to try to defend this base. So it looks like he is going to have to cancel this expansion, and his army at his main, it looks like now he does have the mothership, so that may have been what he was waiting for to start this push. And of course a carrier coming out now as well. He may start tech switching to a little bit heavier on the carrier side, especially with the help of that mothership. Of course that mothership has a couple of abilities that are very, very powerful, one being the ability to cloak all the units under it, as the Arbiter did in StarCraft 1, and then of course the Vortex ability. A little bit less used ability is the Mass Recall, which is also similar to the recall ability of the Arbiter in StarCraft 1, although not as crucial as the other two. The Vortex allows you to essentially split your enemy's army in half, which is very, very useful technology to have. and it looks like we may see a very large battle here shortly, as the my army is right next to the army of Necator at this point. Although with that mothership, of course, all of his units being cloaked, I will have to either focus fire that mothership down very quickly, or have some sort of overseer or spore crawler in the vicinity so that I can detect his units. And it looks like there are a couple of overseers on the map right now, but of course my army does not have one with them. So he's moving up, taking out this high yield expansion right now, and these drones being immediately pulled away as there's only 2 minerals remaining at this base. Of course, there is some gas left still, but at this point, trying to take this down. And the Zerg army coming up from the back now, trying to focus fire down some units here. Of course, though, I cannot see most of his units because of this mothership, although that mothership getting fired down extremely quickly because of the amount of Hydralisks and Mutas that have the anti-air attack. And it looks like focus firing down one of those Colossi, although there are still 3 on the back. And that Ultralisk doing a huge amount of damage on the front lines there, although going down finally to that focus fire of all the rest of the Protoss army. Necator, it looks like, is at the advantage right now with the amount of units that he does still have. So these Hydralisks going to come up here and try to take down as many units as possible. But as you can see, the combined fire of these 3 Colossi is just too much for them to handle. So it looks like the Protoss player did win that battle, although he is not going to try to push his advantage, which is a little bit curious to me, because right now, with these carriers and stalkers in addition to his army, he would probably be in a very, very good place if he tried to attack. And it looks like more Hydralisks building out at one of the expansions right now, trying to quickly macro up an army, because I am aware that I just lost that battle and I am in a bad place if I don't get an army out here quickly. Although 6 Ultras popping right now, and getting a few Corruptors as well, because again, the Colossi, because of how tall they are, do take damage from anti-air units such as the Corruptor. So going to use those to try to focus fire down, and now a decent sized army between the amount of Hydralisks and Ultras that are in play here. And it looks like those Ultras are going to get fired down pretty quickly by the combined fire of the Stalkers and the Colossi. Those Colossi just so powerful with their splash damage. Although with the rest of the Ultralists coming into the mix now, able to clean up the rest of that Zerg army, and these 2 carriers are the remaining units in the Protoss army. And there's 4 Corruptors and a few Hydralisks here trying to chase down these carriers. It looks like one was taken down already, and another one getting ready to go down here in just a second. You can see just how deadly these Corruptors are against the Protoss army. And Necator trying to expand up at the high yield, although since he has just lost his army, he does not have anything to defend as these Ultra Zerglings and Hydralisks move up into this base. Of course, the Corruptor's not able to do a whole lot because they do not have a ground attack. But at this point, it looks like the new expansions are mining pretty heavily, since, of course, the yellow mineral base in the middle was taken out, although the minerals out there were also mined out as well. So, and just trying to mass up some Zerglings right now, because since I went so heavy on the Ultralists and Corruptors for a little bit, I, of course, am very, very low on gas right now. Although trying to keep my army macroed up as well as possible. You can see at about 115 right now, trying to utilize that spawn larva to get more units out, and quickly taking down this expansion from Necator. It looks like he has a large amount of probes here. If we take a look at the units overlay, he does have 62 total probes, although I'm sure that was more earlier, and you can see that number quickly going down with the Zerglings and Ultras taking a lot of them out of this expansion here. So although the carrier's coming into play now, the only anti-air in my army at this point is 6 Corruptors, although that is enough to handle 2 carriers, and the mothership coming back out for the Protoss player. So that may be enough to turn the tide, although I do believe, yeah, there is one Overseer in the mix with this army right now. So despite the fact that there's not a whole lot of anti-air, I do have the Overseer overhead, so I can spot those cloaked units underneath that mothership. So at this point, it looks like I have taken a little bit of an advantage, although Necator is hurtled pretty hard into his base. But at the same time, he has no additional income right now, so he is completely tapped out on his existing resources and is not mining anywhere else, whereas I am continuing to mine at the new bases that I do have, and do have a decent sized army as well. These Ultralists, again, just moving in here, you can see how much damage they can just take. And of course the attack upgraded level 3 everything now, so also including the armor, which the armor at level 3, you know, just soaks up so much damage from those cannons. So it doesn't look like these Ultras are going to have a whole lot of problems taking that down. And the Protoss player now in a lot of trouble. He does have, oh, and it looks like he just rage quits, so completely leaves the game without even saying GG. Anyways, I thought that was a lot of fun. Great game back and forth. There was a couple spots where I was in a tight spot and the Protoss player made some mistakes that allowed me to get back in. Of course, there were some areas where I made mistakes as well, but overall, I thought the game was a lot of fun, so I wanted to share it with you guys. But anyways, thanks for watching, and keep an eye on my channel for any new videos coming out over the next week. And GG.